Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
And it's Happy Thriller Thursday! Woo! My favorite. And our motivation for today.
Yes, what is the motivation?
Stay strong. Says your wound is probably not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility.
Fuck yeah.
Very appropriate.
Yes.
For our show.
For my life, but
also for the show. So how are you? How's your life?
Let me tell you. Today, I was quite pissed off that it was Monday, and I had to go to work.
Feel that.
Then I got to work, and sitting on my desk in a glittery unicorn floaty pool koozie was a bottle of wine with a note that said, "It's wine o'clock somewhere. 32 days until summer break. Love, Tracy."
Aww. How sweet.
That is the wine that I'm drinking right now. It's just a Sutter Home rosé, but it was on my desk for Monday morning, and I was like, thanks.
Sweetest thing.
Because today is the first day of Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
So I got flowers and I got wine, and then some of the parents came to my classroom and gave me Oreos and Dr. Pepper.
Good stuff.
But it was funny. They started to knock on the door, and I said, "Good morning, Mrs. Daniels." And she said, "How did you know it was me?" I was like, "The door has a window in it." Yeah. So that made today better, but my inspection expired on April 30th. So I had to take my car to the shop. But the thing about taking my car to the shop for my inspection is that my check engine light has been on since February. To be fair, I know exactly why it's on.
You drove here with a check engine light on.
No. It came on when I got back.
Gotcha.
No, just kidding. I drove there with a check engine light on. Yeah, I sure did.
Good job.
Yeah.
Not dangerous at all.
No, for sure did drive there with a check engine light on. Okay, the check engine light is on because the O2 sensor is jacked.
Okay.
But the only thing is when I put gas in my car and then I turn my car on for the first time and there is oxygen in the gas line because of pumping the gas, it stalls.
Oh.
But no other time does anything wrong happen while I'm driving. So, is it good? Absolutely not.
Right.
Am I going to die? Also, no.
Look, that's all you can ask for sometimes.
Right. So I dropped my car off at the shop. I did not clean it out. So if for any reason my mechanic or anyone who works at his shop ever listens to this podcast, I'm so sorry because I literally specifically like to keep my car looking like I'm homeless so that no one ever breaks into it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is excellent.
So I have wine.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a car.
Yeah, I have wine and don't have a car.
Yes, I don't have public transportation.
Oh, I do have that.
Yeah. But other than that, how are you? How's life?
I'm making it.
Fantastic.
Horror-related things happen in my life.
Oh.
So I think I mentioned I've been listening to a lot of scary podcasts.
Yes.
I'm currently stuck on Scared to Death and Ghosts in the Burbs. Those are my top two right now.
Good.
What that means is they're my calming shows. So whenever I go to rest on the weekends, I turn on a podcast to take a nap So I happened to turn on my Scared to Death podcast to take a nap, and it was on Skinwalkers, and I was like, I know all about this, no problem. I woke up to the most terrifying story I have ever heard in my life and had a panic attack. It was a whole thing. I had to turn on all the lights, to turn off the podcast, turn on Desperate Housewives. I thought I was going to have a panic attack and never sleep again. I survived. I'm better now. And then I also thought I saw something in my bathroom while I was in the shower, and I didn't.
Well, that reminds me of when I used to fall asleep watching Twin Peaks and would wake up to like horrifying screams in the show. And then my mom was like, probably you should watch something else.
Right.
So I put on a documentary about Kurt Cobain's suicide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not better, but at least you know how that means.
And
you know,
it was really calming. It was great.
Yeah.
I think that says more about my mental health than just about anything I've ever admitted on this podcast before.
It does. But that's fine.
Well, that and the fact that I actually at one point this week told someone that I don't think I'm a person.
Oh, yes. You know, look, it happens. It happens to the best of us.
That's what you said.
What can I say?
Water signs.
So I'm also have just started reading the book that is going to be our movie pick, which we'll announce next week. So stay tuned. I'm very excited. I'm at the very beginning, so I have like no thoughts yet, but very excited. And last but certainly not least, so this comes out next Thursday, the 12th. Yes, the 12th.
Yes.
On the 14th, so 2 days from when you see this or listen to this, I will be going upstate with my coworkers from the bar to the Mid Orange Reformatory yada 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 ghost hunting from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. My soul is going to leave my body.
Absolutely.
I am so scared. I won't like even read the website. I read what was included because I needed to know what my money was going towards. And I learned there'll be unlimited coffee and some snacks. And so like that was good enough for me to pay for.
Yeah. Unlimited coffee is honestly always worth it.
Look, it was $130 for the tickets, but I was just like, they're gonna give me coffee. Cool, I'm in.
I bought tickets today for something completely opposite that.
Happy times?
Do you know Mr. D? Like Joe Dabrowski, he's a kindergarten teacher, comedian. He like posts TikToks about like things that kindergartners say to him and like just like what is very, very funny.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to his comedy show.
Oh, what is his last name?
Dabrowski.
So it really threw me off because I have a friend named Joe Dabrowski. And that's what I thought you said. I was like, first of all, he's not a teacher. He also doesn't do comedy. He does theater.
So clearly not who I'm talking about.
Very different people.
Joe Dabrowski is a kindergarten teacher who like went viral online, like he was doing stand-up based on conversations with kindergartners, and he is so funny. And so Tracy, who bought me this wine, her and I are going to see that in June.
Oh, how fun. That's going to be such a good time. I'm going to see Centerstead in June. And I am.
Oh, that's right.
They're going to City Winery, and I'm so excited. Because I've never been to City Winery either, but I mean, it's
nice.
This wine, so.
When this episode comes out, I will be working Ain't Too Proud.
Oh, good. You'll tell me how to, because I never got to see it. Things I did get to see.
Yeah. No, tell me.
Is Bates Motel.
Oh, yes. Oh, perfect.
Episode 9. Sorry, I got you a little excited. I was transition.
Your transition was lovely. I was just not prepared for it. It's fine.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. So, season 1, episode 9. It is the penultimate episode to this season. It is titled Underwater. And that says a lot about it. But It was rated 7.9 out of 10, which is fair enough. Not the best one we've had, but like not the worst, but they've all been good. So like
Yeah.
fine. The number one song is Still Just Give Me a Reason because it's an excellent song. Why change it?
Yeah.
The number one movie,
Is it not Iron Man 3 anymore?
not Iron Man 3, is sci-fi. Ties in with our sci-fi Sundays. Probably would have picked it as number one, but it is Star Trek Into Darkness. I know. I didn't even know again.
I've already said all of my feelings about this new Star Trek movies, so I'm not going to repeat them. I was like, what sci-fi movie was that big in 2013? Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense.
I didn't realize it hit number one, but it did. It aired on May 13th, 2013. And on this day, there was a lot of bad things that happened, and I picked the one good thing that happened.
Oh, yay.
Levity.
Well, because I always just tell you awful things that happen on my dates.
Everyone dies. So on this day, Chris Hadfield departs the International Space Station to return to Earth from Canada, and so he went home to Canada.
Good for you, Chris.
At least not that year. I don't know if he's still alive. I did not check, but we're gonna say he's thriving. He's alive and well.
Fantastic. I'll just pretend. I have no idea.
Yeah. The director is Tucker Gates. We've talked about him 1,000 times. He's done 5 other episodes. This is episode 9, so he is our majority director at this point.
Yes.
Same writers. We don't change it up at all. Love it.
Love it.
So instead, I talked about a couple of the actors that have been recurring characters. First, Vincent Gail plays Gil Turner. I didn't really know him, so I thought I'd look into him. He is known for Firewall, The Final Cut, Van Helsing, and The Mountain Between Us. I have not seen any of those. I have
seen Van Helsing.
And I have heard The Final Cut. It's a Robin Williams movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the other 2 are, but he's known for them.
Cool.
Which makes sense as to why I didn't recognize him.
Makes sense.
He was born in Scotland, and his birthday is May 6th. So when this comes out, happy late birthday, Vincent Gail. And he's a very private person, it said. So there's no fun facts about him.
Fantastic. Good for him.
He's living his best life.
Yeah.
Next, we have Ian Tracy, who plays Remo, who we've seen a couple of times now, and he's becoming a little bit bigger each time, I think.
I know a lot about him.
I was going to say, he's known for a lot more things that we've seen and heard about. He's known for Continuum,
yes,
Open Range, Time Cop, and Stakeout. And he makes guest appearances. This is a fun fact about him. He makes guest appearances on the 3 longest running sci-fi shows: X-Files, SG-1, and Smallville.
Yes. What was I just... Because my dad watched the episode with me, parts of the episode with me yesterday. He didn't really watch it, but he walked into the room and Remo was on the screen, and my dad goes, "That's the guy from the show with the girl who can time travel." And I go, "That is the most vague description you have ever given me."
Is it the one that just came out 4 years ago?
No, he was talking about Continuum.
Oh, okay.
But I go, "Dad, you're going to need to be a lot less vague."
That's like I texted my friend Don James, we were talking about Broadway shows, and he said he put in for the lottery for Little Shop of Horrors. And I was like, that guy's going to be on there that I love. And he was like, which one? I was like, you don't just immediately know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But Skylar Aston's going to be starring in it. So
yes, he is. But then I'm trying to remember what it was that Ian Tracy did that I was like, this is why I know him. I mean, he's literally been in absolutely everything. But there's something that he was a more... No.
I don't know.
Maybe it was the Smallville thing is what we were talking about. No, but that's only one episode. I don't remember. But I was looking... I was looking him up because of, no, he's in Man of Steel.
So also Superman, but different.
But different. Yes. Same, but different.
But yes.
Yes, but so I was looking him up yesterday and talking about him. So I was like, I wonder if you're going to talk about him because I literally just looked at him yesterday.
I'm so glad I did then. I'm so glad I chose him to talk about today. I just like to give a little something about some of the characters that we're seeing.
Fantastic.
So we got a lot of notes, so let's just get going.
Yes, I'm ready.
We start at the end of the last episode. The sheriff's body is being removed from Norma's bed, which is great. And then there's a ton of people standing around asking questions. And at first I was like, who are these people? I completely forgot about the Tremors. But that's absolutely it.
I was like, dude, y'all are just like watching this?
I know. They're stoned. Who knows? They're like standing there.
Yeah.
They've clearly like been smoking all day, like all week. So
yeah.
So Norma starts off talking to Romero, and she's telling him all about Creepy Jake. And she's just like, she's like, you have to know about this. He definitely did it. I have no doubt. And then she just yells, why do crazy people gravitate towards me? And I'm like,
I wrote crazy attracts crazy man.
Yes, exactly. I was like, you started this.
Yeah.
You were crazy.
Fully, that was you.
And also, you just let this strange guy bust up in here without any information, like, at all. Like, what did you expect to happen?
Right.
So, anyways, so Romero ends up getting Creepy Jake's information from Dylan because Dylan.
I wrote, thank God for Dylan.
Again, thank God for Dylan. So, it's kind of a little jumpy this episode, but it's fine. And so he gets the information, then he heads out, and the next scene is Dylan and Norman pulling Norma's mattress down to be burned. And I mean, they're like, well, you shouldn't, they're like, why do we have to burn it? We can just clean it. First of all, I was like, absolutely, I'm cleaning it. And then, I mean, I'm throwing it out. I'm not cleaning it. But then they brought up a good point of like, what do you think they do with hospital beds? I was like, now that's all I'm going to think of anytime I have to go to the hospital. Hopefully I'm just not going to the hospital. But
I appreciate the freaked outedness of that and like the needing to just like destroy it. But also, mattresses are not cheap.
They're not. But also she runs a hotel. So like worst comes to worst, she can just like take one of the other mattresses and close a room. Like, you know, she's going to. Yeah.
That's fair.
And that house has a lot of rooms. I bet there's another bed in there since she got all the furniture.
You know, you would think. But then later happens, and I have problems.
I don't think that means there's not another room with her. Don't think that's what that means. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So it's the next morning, and the Trimmers are all hanging out outside, smoking, just on the sidewalk of the motel, because why not? And Norma loses it. And
I said, damn, Norma, you need to calm down.
Hey, like, you know what this town is run on. And that's basically what they tell her. They're like, you know what happens here. And she's like, yeah, but not on my property. And I'm like, Norma, no one in this whole town cares. The only people staying here are the people who are working on the pot farm. Why do you care? Like, your house isn't close enough to these people that you're going to be smelling it anyways.
Well, okay, I have a problem because then I brought this problem up much later in the episode, but she doesn't know what they're working for. Like, she seems to genuinely be confused and surprised that they would be things. And he was like, and Dylan was like, they're just processing things. And she was like, processing what? And he didn't answer her. And I brought this up later, but we can't address it now because it's not plot relevant, except for like, you're going to tell me that Dylan working in that pot farm has never once come home smelling like drugs.
Okay, so
Because here's the thing, marijuana has a smell before it is burned. Some
yes,
drugs do not, but marijuana does.
but he never is around it when it's smoking, and it is outdoors, and so he's not like just sitting like inside of a building with it all the time. I mean, they do have a building too, but like I would imagine he doesn't just straight up smell like weed all the time, and he comes home and showers and all this stuff. So it's not like
Yeah, but
you would
listen,
immediately smell it on him. I was not taken aback by
I was. I didn't think about it until later in the scene when he's actually like carrying a plant, and then I like had the realization because like, well, it is no longer illegal in New York, so I'll just say it. I've smoked pot. And you can smell it before it's ever lit, like before it's burnt. The plant itself has a very distinct smell. So you're going to tell me that he's literally you've never even suspected that that's what he's doing. That's just ignorance.
But also, like, she hasn't spent a lot of time close to him.
She's
like, it's.
I mean, that's fair. It was her complete shock was baffling to me.
I was like, how do you not know anything about what's going on? Because like the entire town knows that it's run on a pot farm, and like surely by now she's figured that out, even though she like doesn't have friends or whatever. But like,
yeah,
she was a little too naive. But I did say she seems like she's just about to lose her mind. Like,
yes, absolutely. Like for no reason.
Go off the deep end. Yeah, it's like small things are like triggering her, and I'm like, she is truly about to lose it. And then she decides she's ready to move on. She was like, I can't do this anymore. She's like, everything's crazy. I hate this town. We're moving. We're gonna go find the safest town and move there. And Norman's not thrilled about that. He's like,
no. The look on his face, I was like, Norman, please don't do something stupid now. I can't handle this right now.
Right. So yeah, and then we go to the first scene that's underwater, and Bradley is in a bathtub in a dress, and I was like, oh my goodness, is she trying to kill herself?
That's what I wrote. What kind of Ophelia bullshit is this?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so I thought that it was that, and then we see Norman's hands come down. I was like, oh my God, you're right. Like, he's still gonna kill her. And then he wakes up. And I was like, I was so caught off guard because I was like, it would be really sudden for him to kill her like this, but I didn't expect it to be a dream for some reason, even though this is like common theme in this show so far that he has some crazy dream and then wakes up. Yeah. It's still like caught me off guard.
I wrote, my note literally says, cute murder fantasy you got there, Norman, you fucking dirtbag. I was like, last time we saw you laying in bed thinking about Bradley, you were having sex dreams, and now you're trying to kill her. That's fair.
Those are very different things, unless you're a serial killer. But might be a little foreshadowing. It's fine. And then we pop over to our dynamic duo, Norma and Emma, who are just the best of friends, it seems. And Norma is so fed up with everything that she just tells Emma, she's like, throw everything away that's not legal.
Right.
You need for the hotel.
Yeah.
She's like, otherwise, get rid of it. And Emma's like, didn't you want me to organize it? And she's like, no, everything gone. I hate it. It's like, all right, Norma, maybe calm down a bit. You might need some of this. But then as she's walking out, she tells Emma that these people are smoking pot and she's not thrilled about it. And that if something happens, she has to bust it up. I was like,
you cannot actually expect Emma to stop the potheads. Like, that's what you're asking for right now? Okay, cool.
I was like, do you know how crazy you sound? Like, what is happening right now? And so then she decides, so then she gets a flower delivery.
So who the fuck would send you flowers?
And I was like, where did these come from? And then they just, what did they say, see you soon?
Yes, just see
And it
you
was
soon,
like
...
super creepy. And naturally, they're from Creepy Jake, because who else would they be from?
Right.
Uh, so she calls Romero, and he's just like, "You sound crazy," basically. And I was like,
Well, no, she doesn't even talk to him at this point. The
"Oh yeah."
receptionist is leaving a message, and I was like, that receptionist must hate her life.
And the receptionist made it sound like she was crazy because she was like, "Someone sent you flowers." She's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Okay, like that's not the end of the world." And I was like, if you haven't seen everything that's happened, she does sound absolutely
Yeah.
insane. She sounds unhinged.
Yeah.
And I think
She
that's
straight up sounds like a psycho.
I think that's a lot of Norma's path. It's not that she's actually that crazy, but that you just don't always see what she's going through until it's too late.
But also she's crazy.
I mean, probably, but and then we go to the dastardly duo, Dylan and Bradley.
I said, Bradley, leave him alone.
I put no Dylan back. That's my comment. Because she's decided that she wants to get inside her dad's old office. And obviously she's not allowed there because her family has been like blacklisted essentially from the pot farm group. And Dylan, the dummy, is like, I can't do that, but I'll like bring stuff to you. And she's just like, okay. And she goes on this guilt trip and he's like, okay, cool. Like, I'll do it. I'm like, what? What is happening?
There was like flirtiness, and I was like, ew, I hate this. I hate it.
I am so upset about it. I don't want to hate Dylan. I don't want to be mad at him. I want him to just do good things. And I understand that nobody's going to be able to do just good things in the show, but
Correct.
I still want it to be that way. And then we go to the real estate office, which I did not know where we were. I was like, who are these people and what are we doing? Turns out it's the real estate agent that she worked with when she bought the motel. Yeah. And when she walks in, he's like, how's the motel business? How's it going? And she just looks at him and she goes, motel business sucks, man. I was like, that is an understatement. It's like, that is so true. I like died when she said that. And so she's going off at him about the bypass being built and how if she would have known that, she never would have bought this place, and she's going to sue him and all this stuff, and that he sold her the place under false pretenses, and she's just angry, and he's just like, so we're going to put it back on the market. No problem. I'll get you your money back. She's like, great.
And that's like the whole time she was yelling at him, I was like, that's not how real estate works, ma'am.
It's not how real estate works. You're correct. I was a real estate agent. That's not how it works. But we'll learn more about that later. Now we go back to the school. And this whole episode, I just like shook my head a lot. I was like, why? Why is this happening? So Miss Honey wants to get Norman's story published. Turns out it is a pretty dark story, we learn.
Not yet. We don't learn that yet.
Right. But she says, come by tomorrow after school. And I was like, where does she want him to go? It's like, is she? It turns out it was to her classroom, which was good. But
this whole time,
Vincent,
I was like, you poor, kind-hearted woman. I totally felt for her because like I am that teacher where like I just see a kid who like is struggling, but like writing is something they're good at, and like I'm trying to like help them flourish. And like this scene later, I had other stuff.
I was gonna say okay, but
in this scene, I just like, and she was like, and I looked at your grades and you're doing so well. Like I was like, you poor, kind-hearted woman, you were trying so hard.
Even though I feel like she's a little shady.
Well, like I said, I had other thoughts later, but in this scene, I felt for her.
So we know Norman is flourishing. He is making straight A's. He's doing good writing. He's happier than he's ever been. He's got a friend. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And Then we go back to the motel. And I bet Norma's cleaning up Party Central because she is trying to like clean up these like disasters of hotel rooms. And she happens to look out the door and creepy Jake is driving by. And I was like,
I said, how creepy can you get, sir?
Right? It's there's no limit.
The limit does not exist.
And then she immediately just starts like Googling the safest cities in America.
Okay, but what the fuck internet browser was she using?
I have no idea.
Because that was the note that I took in this scene. She was Googling safest cities in America. And I go, that is literally not what the internet looks like.
Yeah, well, they have their own internet in this whacked up town. That's the least thing I question from this show is what type of internet they're using.
Oh God.
Disaster. And no. Okay, so she's looking for the safest cities, and then we go to Norman getting home, and she yells down to lock and bolt the door. And instead he just comes right in carrying Juno. This dog.
He said, welcome to my life, Juno. I was like, oh no, don't talk to the dog.
I was like, oh goodness, that's creepy. And then Norma does not hear the door lock and bolt, so she runs down the stairs, and she's like, and then she sees Juno, and it's just like, what is going on? And she's having, this is probably one of the most normal mom conversations she's had, because he's like, I really love it here. I have a 4.0 and all this stuff. I'm doing great. My grades are awesome. And she's like, oh, honey, I'm so proud of you, and hugs him. And she's like, I'm so glad you're doing great. And I was like, that like 5.5 seconds.
Right. And then even like I got upset. I was like, he's 17. Like, just let him graduate, ma'am. But even then he was like, I'm doing really well at the school. And she was like, remember, you're the one getting those grades, not the school. Right. And I was like, this is the healthiest conversation these two humans have ever had with each other.
And probably ever will have.
Or like with anyone, actually.
Yes, yes. And then Dylan sees Juno.
This is when I wrote, Dylan is quite literally the only normal person in this whole show.
Yes. He's like, what is this? What is happening? He is like just thrown into this whirlwind. And it turns out when he walks in, Norman's on his computer and he's Googling drowning someone in your dream. And Dylan is like, what is happening? He's like, what are you? He's like, did you dream about this? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, who? Who did you dream about? And he's like, oh no. But he's like, no, who? Like,
yeah, but here's the problem. He was only worried because he has a thing for Bradley because he's a fucking creep.
I know. And he gets real nervous when Norman says Bradley. And like, fair enough. Like, even if I didn't care about Bradley, because I don't, I would still be nervous that he had to like drown.
Right, but like, if he had a dream about drowning someone at school, like anyone at school, that's concerning. Why do you care who?
Right. I mean, I would care who because like he could act on it, and I would want to make sure that specific person was okay. But I don't think that's Dylan's approach. That would just be my approach. I'd be like, correct. What person do I need to get out of harm's way? Right.
But then Norman says the most heartbreaking thing. Because he was like, Dylan was like, you don't want to hurt her though, right? And he goes, no, I don't. I don't want to hurt anybody. I never want to hurt anyone. And I was like, that's the thing, is he genuinely doesn't want to hurt anyone ever. He just does it. And that is heartbreaking.
No, and he even tries to be kind of like funny. He's like, except you, of course. Like,
yeah. And I was like, they literally could be like the cutest brothers if like Norman wasn't actually, what did I say? How many? 8 screws loose. That's how many screws I said he had loose.
There's at least that many loose.
Yeah.
I think it gets looser over time. And then we go to the pot farm. And the trimmers are doing their job, and they're living it up. They're killing it.
They're not actually at the farm. They're at the warehouse at this point because they're moving it in to trim.
Yeah, and we learned that Dylan has gotten really comfortable really fast being in charge. He like approaches Gil, and he's like, "Sup?" did this guy have an office here? And Gil's like, why are you bringing this up? And he's like,
Yeah, Gail was like, oh, what? You think that I didn't promote you fast enough? You need a fucking office now, too?
right.
And he was like, no, I'm just asking a question. He's like, fuck Jerry Martin. Fuck his family. He lost me so much money. You want his office? Fucking take it. I don't care.
Yeah, he just threw everything out. And I was like, he's moving up really quickly. Like, I bet Remo doesn't have an office.
Well,
And like,
no,
I know
of course,
Remo's
of course
below him,
Rainbow doesn't.
but like, who else is above him now? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, in between him and Gil.
Nobody.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
correct.
And they were back at the motel. This was a cute scene. Emma is locking up as she was told, and she sees this guy smoking outside. I have a correction for myself. Yeah. I said the guy that yelled at Remo was his son. This was his son.
Oh.
Not the guy with the guitar. I got
okay.
Because I didn't know the guitar guy's name.
Got it.
So this is Remo's actual real life son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
at first I just said, Emma, just leave it alone. Like, don't even go out there. Don't even waste your time.
And he just like skedaddles into his hotel room. And so she goes and knocks on the door. And she's like, I think I smell pot. And he was like, it's not me. She's like, you're literally holding it behind your back. Like, I'm not a moron. And
she was like, unless you're on fire.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, do you want some? And she's like, I will literally blow up. She was like,
okay, but then here's the thing. He was like, no, I see people smoke all the time with oxygen tanks. And I wrote, okay, he's not wrong, but I still find it baffling. Every time I have ever seen like a 90-year-old woman with an oxygen tank smoking a cigarette, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Why does this seem like a good idea?
Yeah, no, he's entirely accurate and I still hate it.
Right. So then he's like, oh, don't worry, I have edibles. Is that better? Can I give you that instead? She's like, I just want you to quit smoking so I don't get fired. Okay, thanks. And
I wrote, he's cute and Emma needs a boy in her life who is not Norman, and I ship it and I love it and I'm obsessed already. And they had one conversation and I was already like, nope, I'm in love. This is it.
In. No, 1,000% I'm in.
OTP for the show. Gunnar and Emma. I'm done.
Yes. I just tried to create them a celebrity name in my head and it doesn't work.
Emmer?
Yep, that's better because I went Gunma and I was like, that's not a combination that goes together.
Hate it.
I like Emmer.
Emmer.
Excellent. You're fast at that.
I teach middle schoolers that I ship all the time, so.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Now we're back at school and we learn Miss Honey is dark. She reads one of his passages and the passage says, he felt like he was choking on black smoke. And she's like, this is great. And I was like, that is terrifying. And like, it's one thing for people to write dark passages. I'm currently writing a thriller, so like, I get it. There are like dark things you write, but also like, I'm not a 17-year-old psychopath.
Here's the thing.
So.
I was very conflicted. Mm-hmm. Because I too react that way to stories like that. Like it is not a secret that Edgar Allan Poe is my favorite author in the world. And when I read his stuff that is like fucking dark, I feel things. And I was like, ma'am, I too fall in love with like stories and lyrics. Like I get it. But he's quite literally a child.
And he's also like, they're already concerned about his emotional well-being. Like, she's already said that he has to go to therapy because she's concerned about.
She was like, you just understand things that people don't. And I was like, ma'am, he's 17.
And then she straight up says, you have to ask your mom about this story, being as you're a minor and all. I was like,
I wrote, that comment was entirely for herself. She literally said it to remind herself to stop fantasizing about him.
Absolutely. I had the same thought. I was like, this is wild. Stop it.
No.
Oh. So then we
Yeah.
go back to the hotel and we are playing Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls. And it is such a jam. I am feeling it. I am in the scene. I am ready.
The Goo Goo Dolls are from Buffalo.
Really?
Yeah.
Love that.
Robbie Resnick, Johnny Resnick is the singer, but Robbie Dyrdek, the guitarist, he runs a foundation called Music is Art, and he helps get like instruments to underfunded schools and stuff, and he does
I've heard
festivals.
that. I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, and it's here. It started here. Yeah.
Go. What am I trying to say? Support. Go support Music is Art.
Yes.
Love
It gets instruments into underfunded schools and stuff to make sure that kids are learning music.
So that we don't have to cut the creative programs like they keep trying to do every few years.
Yes. So fantastic. Love him.
Great song. Says it was uncredited, which is like, why? This other song that I'd never heard of was credited, but this one was not. I don't know. I have a lot of questions.
Probably because the Goos didn't actually sing it. Like if it had been underscoring and not like live on the show, they would have had to credit it differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because at that point, I guess they just have to like credit because they have to credit the writers, but they don't have to credit the band itself.
Correct.
So yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. So the Trimmers are having a blast. They're having such a great time, just super chill. And Romero shows up. And if this doesn't say what the town is like, they offer him weed, and he's like, "No, I'm good." That's
Listen,
it.
I literally watched this and I paused it to double check some details because I was like, there's no way this man is that nonchalant. So I did some Googling because I know Oregon was one of the first states to legalize marijuana, but not yet.
Not in 2013.
It officially started in 2014. So like, and it was already on the ballot for the first time in 2012, and then like didn't get passed the first time, and then did pass in 2014. So like, it was already really prevalent, but technically not legal. So like, I was like, if that does not explain the corruption of this town, like,
that's exactly what I thought. I was like, okay. So he goes in to talk to Norma because she's been blowing up his phone at the office. And she starts telling him about the flowers again. And she's like, I know this happened. He's like super creepy. He drove by today. And then he says, Jake Abernathy doesn't exist. And I was the least bit surprised. I like knew he didn't exist.
That whole thing where he was fighting with her and was like, you have no proof, you've cleaned up the rooms, you're doing all of the stuff that like is making it literally impossible for me to help you. So like, I don't know what the fuck you want from me. I was like, Romero is moving very rapidly up my favorites list.
Yeah. And like, I mean,
because like, is he sketchy and corrupt? Absolutely. But like, he's the only one being like, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
Like, he's the only one being like, Norma, your mind is not in charge of the world.
Absolutely. And I will say I was a little surprised. This threw me off because he's like, did you get a license plate even? And she's like, no. And I'm like, how did you not get a license plate yet? Like,
right.
Fair enough.
Because she's an idiot.
Yeah, but I'm like, you literally have all this. I guess all the other information technically Dylan got, but like, she's seen that car so many times. You'd think she would have learned the license plate just so she could know she could pick it out. I would have.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know my mom and dad's license plate numbers. I know their cars. I don't know what their license plates are.
I know them when I see them, but like, and I used to know them, but I mean, I look at license plates now every time I get in a car here. So,
well,
there's my head after a bit, but I mean, I still know my license plate to my car that's in my mom's, but
I do know mine, but only because I pay a lot of parking tickets online.
Okay. Well, I haven't driven mine in 4 years. I still remember it. Anyways, so and then I was also surprised because Romero's like, you're messing everything up. Everything's terrible. You don't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, somebody's going to drive away every half hour. I was like, why couldn't you have just said that in the first place? Like, if you were going to put protection on her house, why'd you have to go through this whole...
Because I think he's doing it really reluctantly. He's like, you suck so bad, but like, I'm not a shitty person.
Right. It just felt like we went in circles a bit to get where we were going to get anyways. Fair. And then, but then she still yells at him. She's just like, I don't care. I'm still mad. She's literally like slowly losing it. And I'm going to bring this up at the end. I have some thoughts moving forward. And then this was a very quick scene, but it felt very poignant to me. Yes. We're back to school. And Norman, gonna do that a lot. Yeah. Norman and Bradley cross paths, and he smiles at her, and she smiles back. And then as soon as he passes her, his face goes dead.
Right. I was like, my note says that was refreshingly normal until it wasn't.
Yeah. And it was like, all he's thinking about is murder, and you know it. It's like, oh.
Well, because like he was awkward and she was awkward, but then they were like smiling, and then there was like this music in the background that was like kind of something, and I was like, wow, like maybe he's gonna like actually like treat her like a person. And like, granted, I keep getting my hopes up for things that like I know can't be possible in the show because like he is Norman Bates, but like it was so refreshingly normal until like it all of a sudden was not.
That's like, I know in the beginning, one of my biggest complaints was it doesn't feel like Norman yet. And then as soon as it did, it has not stopped since. Like, yeah, Freddie Highmore is the perfect, like, Norman Bates.
Yes.
And absolutely. I think that was excellent casting. Because this scene, it was like 10 seconds long, maybe. And it was like one of the scenes that I felt the most in the entire episode. Just so well done. And then a very brief fun scene right after, just to lighten it up a bit. We go back to Emma, and she gets a cupcake with a note on it. And I don't remember exactly what the note said.
It said, I hope I didn't get you in trouble.
Oh, yeah. And it was from Gunner.
I said, I'm obsessed with Gunner. That is all. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's really throwing me off because Austin, whose birthday is today that we're recording, his dog's name is Gunner. Oh. He's precious. And he doesn't smoke weed or anything because he's a dog. But
oh my God, what? Good.
And so she's like, oh, how sweet. She's like, getting ready to start eating it. And she's just like getting to town on this cupcake.
No, she doesn't eat it yet. She just looks at it at first.
Oh, I thought she started eating it and then like we just
No, she just looked at it and smiled.
Oh, so this is, I just pushed it together. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is the scene where Bradley and Dylan talk about going to the office and he finally gives in.
Yes, okay, because I have very long notes about this scene.
Okay, yes.
Because I said, Bradley, this is what I'm going to read you the paragraph that I wrote. I said, Bradley, while I absolutely empathize, you should just let Dylan protect you instead of pulling this sad girl bullshit that you already pulled on his brother. I'm starting to believe that you're doing it on purpose.
I definitely believe she's doing it on purpose.
She's like, I'm pretty. She's like, I'm pretty and I have big eyes, and if I cry, boys will do things for me.
Yes. Which she's not wrong. But
right, but like, you sad, sick, pick-me girl. Like, I cannot.
No, I hate her. Can't stand her.
And then I was like, and then when he agreed, I was like, why can't the Bates men stand up to women? Like, why? Just once.
No self-control.
No.
It's fine. And then we go back to the motel. And this is where
Emma starts. Yeah.
And it's like night now. And I was like, does she just live there now? Like, she's there before school, she's there after school.
Yes. No. I don't know what your experience with edible marijuana is.
Not.
No, okay. Wow, mine is not none. She started eating this cupcake, and I immediately freaked out.
Okay, so mine is none, but I've been around people who is not none, and I also freaked out.
I was like, you cannot. No. You cannot eat that whole cupcake. You cannot eat that whole cupcake. I was freaking out because my first time ever having an edible, I ate a whole slice of cake because I didn't know. And I then spent the night in my friend's taxi. My friend has a taxi that he drives.
That's good. That's good.
This is in Thailand. My friend, yeah, I was in my friend's taxi, laying across the backseat of the taxi, and I literally, it is the strangest thing, but I was like, my five senses are like five different screens on a computer, and you know how when you're working on a computer, you can only pull two different screens up at one time? That's how I felt. So like if I was talking, I couldn't see. And if I was listening, I couldn't talk. Like I literally was like shuffling, like filtering which, right. Like I was like filtering which of my senses I was capable of using at that time and I literally was thinking of it like a computer screen. And I was like, okay, I need to talk now. So I have to turn my eyes off. Like, because I ate too much and I like was so overwhelmed. So as she's shoving this cupcake in her mouth, I was like, no, I've been there. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That sounds terrifying. How did you not have a heart attack and die? I would have panicked.
Well, my friend, so it was my friend and her husband. He owns the cabin. She was in the passenger seat and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, no. Like I was fully aware of the fact that what I was feeling didn't make sense. So we were on the way home. So they like just took me home and went to bed and they were like, call us when you wake up. And when I woke up, I like felt sick, but like fine. But like I was so messed up, but I knew that I was messed up. Like I was like, I am not okay. I need to go to sleep. Because I knew that nothing was going to help except for time. But I couldn't handle being awake and feeling that way anymore.
I would for sure think I was going to die if I went to sleep. That would not have gone well for me. I would have panicked. A lot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing was, it was like, everything was like so sharp that I was like fully aware that like sleep.
I'm very glad you didn't panic. I'm very glad you didn't die.
Yeah, I didn't panic or die. But
I don't really overdose on weed or whatever. I've done a lot of research through crime cases, but
I did not panic. I did not die. I did feel absolutely like nothing worked in my brain anymore. And so watching her shove this entire cupcake in her mouth, I was having flashbacks and I wanted to cry.
I am flabbergasted. I'm just distraught. I cannot.
Yeah.
Please don't do that again.
No, I have no intention of doing that again. Believe me, once is enough for that sensation.
Do not let them eat cake. I'm gonna think about that every time I eat cake now. So regular cake,
marriage cake, weed cake.
Oh my gosh! Don't eat cake anymore. That is the only answer.
No more cake.
You're either gonna get married or high. Those are your options.
No more cake for any of us.
Oh my God, no more cake. Marie Antoinette was wrong. She's the one who said it, right? Let them eat cake.
Yes, that was Marie Antoinette.
No more cake for anyone. Okay, so back to more normal things.
No, that's what happens next is not normal.
As compared to eating an entire slice of weed cake and a marriage cake, this seems more normal.
I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Start with Norma and Norman. Normal.
Yes.
All the words. Anyway, so Norma's like, let's move to Hawaii, which is really funny because she said we should move to Oahu, and you said that's where Kendra's from.
Yeah, in Stargate, the last actress, she was raised in Oahu. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was so neat. I didn't mention it last episode because we hadn't gotten here yet, but
Right.
I thought that was a fun connection.
Yay.
And Norman is like losing it. He's not thrilled. And he just yells, you're crazy. Like he has the whole speech, but like at the very end of it, he's like, you're crazy. I was like, Norman, you can't say that. Because she is crazy.
I wrote, dude, what the fuck?
But also you're crazy. Like this is a two-way street.
I feel like Norman is Eminem in Love the Way You Lie.
I didn't know my first thought was that you were gonna go with Stan, and I didn't know where we were going.
No. I can't tell you what it feels like. Or I can't tell you what it really is. I can only tell you what it feels like.
Did we have weed cake before we started on accident? Because I feel like we've just gone.
I was gonna say I don't know what is happening. I am on a
They put my Starbucks coffee
right now.
Oh gosh, okay. Emma walks in. And she's hella paranoid. And it is so funny. She's like, I feel like I'm being watched. She's like
I wrote, oh, you adorable little baby. She's like, you know, when you're climbing the stairs and there's more stairs just keep coming.
I was like, oh Jesus. And then Norma's like, did you smoke pot? She says, no, I ate it. It's like, that's the same. The same
No,
thing.
it's actually not the same. It's much, much worse.
Right, but like, it's not like, no is not the answer to that question.
Correct.
So sweet baby Emma, who is high as a kite,
So
Norma's like, get her some coffee and toast, and we'll figure this out.
Toast and orange juice.
Toast and orange juice.
I don't know why. Probably because it's late at night and she doesn't want to give her coffee.
Oh, I guess. I feel like if someone needed to take care of me, they should give me coffee and toast. So that's where I went coffee.
Well, yes, but you're like a 28-year-old with your soul
First
dead. Or you're 29. I know. But also like you've already lost your soul to the dark arts of coffee.
That's why I'm drinking coffee at 9:00 at night tonight. Killing it. And
oh, I didn't have coffee today. I thought I didn't have coffee today, and I was like, well, no, but
this is my third coffee today. It's been a long day. Back to our dastardly duo, which makes me think of one of those old like boomerang shows.
It makes me think of Natasha and Boris from Rocky and Bullwinkle,
which was part of the Boomerang Bunch. So
I only ever watched it as a standalone.
I watched a standalone, but I really liked the wacky races. That was my favorite.
Okay.
And so they climbed through the building to get to the middle of the warehouse. And I was like, why is this the entrance you've taken?
Well, because there's a guard. Right,
but they still get called. And Remo just starts shooting at them.
It's like, man, Remo would have loved to just take Dylan out right then.
Oh my gosh. Nothing. He would have loved nothing more. But turns out maybe he likes him a little more and chooses to protect him for now. I'm not convinced that's going to last. But for today, he's at least pretending to let him go. So they go looking through her dad's office, and she's saying there's a gold pocket watch she wants to find. I don't know what's in it, but I'm betting whatever Creepy Jake is looking for is in that pocket watch.
No, because we know what Creepy Jake is looking for.
Well, he's looking for the money, but like maybe there's a key or something in there to get to the money.
I definitely think that the gold pocket watch is bigger than just Bradley's feelings. But
for sure. And then we find out that Jerry was having an affair.
Sure was.
And God bless him, Dylan decides to comfort Bradley, and he tells her, how could he not love you? How could anyone not love you?
He said, of course he loved you, because how could anyone not? And I was like, Dylan, you fucking idiot.
Again, I put bad Dylan, no, just in bigger letters. And
I was like, Norman's gonna murder you, just so you know. Like, don't.
She's definitely got to die now. Like, I tried to give her a pass last episode.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Norman murdered Dylan.
Truly. Speaking of Norman, we go back to the house, and Norma decides she wants to have a sleepover because she feels weirded out sleeping in her bed.
I said, Norma, he is grown.
And that is such a weird interaction between them. Because, like...
I literally said I was going to be sick. Like, it was just...
Because, like, I compare this to my own life. I'm not crazy, but, like, I compare the idea of what happens. And, like, my mom really likes to cuddle people. That's her thing. But also, like, I'm her grown daughter. And, like, right. When my parents came and stayed with me, they both slept in the bed with me because I didn't have a couch or anything. So,
right.
I crammed in the bed. But we just, like, followed over the covers and went to sleep. Like, very normal.
Well, like, and, like, I've had times, like, my parents and I will, like, do things where, like, we'll all be, like, playing quiz games on our computer, like, on our phones all together, and I'll go up in their bed and, like, crawl in the bed in between them and lay in bed with them, even right. Now, like, at 30 years old. I don't snuggle in a bed alone, like, with either one of them, it was the way she was, like, cuddling him, and she kissed his neck, and I was like,
yeah, that's where it started getting weird. Like, my mom does try to snuggle me all the time.
No, I mean, like, and I, like, hug my parents, and, like, I've definitely, like, taken a nap in bed with one of them, but, like, she kissed his neck and, like, wrapped herself around him, and I was like, ugh.
If my mom could just attach herself to my body and hug me and snuggle me at all times and never have to let me go, I think she would. But she's much more touchy than me. And also, it's not weird. It's not the same kind of weird. No, there's a huge difference when you can tell when a parent is just, like, an affectionate person. Because, like, I'm a very huggy person. Like, I hug my students. I have one of my 8th graders. I call her my daughter, and, like, I literally will, like, just come up behind her and wrap my arms around her and, like, my head on her, like, my chin on her head, and, like, I'm just, like, a huggy, touchy person. But I would never kiss someone's neck. No.
Unless I wanted more than
right.
That. No, it makes me next level uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, this was a very uncomfortable scene for something that could have very well been a normal parent-child interaction, and she made it weird.
Right, like, he was like, I'll sleep on the floor so you can sleep in the bed. She's like, no, it's fine. The bed's big enough. We can both sleep in it. And, like, you don't have to sleep on the floor. Like, that could have been the end of it. But then she was like, remember when we used to have sleepovers?
It was wild. It was not good. But that's enough of that. We go back to the school in case you wanted something else weird to happen. And Norman goes to talk to Miss Honey. Her name is Miss Watson, but I will forever be calling her Miss Honey. I just want you to know I do know her name. I just will not be using it.
Okay.
So she's, like, talking to him about this, and he's like, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think my mom would like it. Blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, so how's therapy going? He's like, I went once. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she tells him, you don't have to tell your mom. And I was like, this sounds like grooming.
I said every single person on the show is 5 seconds away from kissing someone that they should not.
Or killing someone that they should not. Depends on.
But, like, Dylan almost kissed Bradley, and then Norma almost kissed Norman, and then Miss Watson almost kissed Norman, and I was like, everyone needs to stop kissing people they should not be kissing.
Yes. And she gets, like, subtly worse and worse. She's not even, like, over the top like everyone else is, but it is so much creepier when she does it, I feel like.
She's like, well, how is your mom even really going to find out? And she's like, I know what it's like to be in your situation. And I was like, that is so fucked up.
Yeah. Didn't care for that. Oh, our card.
Nope.
We have no more motivation. Okay. And yeah, didn't care for that. So now we go back to the real estate office. And this is where the quote of the title comes in. He tells her, she's like, oh, I'm ready for the open house, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, it's not going to happen. He's like, no matter what you do, you're underwater. And she loses it. She's like, I'm going to sue you, which, like, yes.
Okay, but here's the thing. I've never related to a character in the show before until she told Matt she was going to sue him. And he said, I am $30,000 in debt. I live with my girlfriend and my car is in my parents' name. Please try to sue me. And I was like, Matt, the first relatable character on the whole show.
No. I was like, yep, I feel that. I feel that. So, but then she still keeps beating him. And I was like, same. Like, I would also want to beat him up.
I was like, that is technically assault.
Yeah, technically, but like, what are they gonna do about it? They don't like punish people in this town unless they go against their business or whatever.
Fair.
They barely punish people for having sex rings. It's like hitting someone with a purse you're probably gonna get away with.
True.
So there's no open house. And she goes back to her car and she has a ticket.
Pause about this ticket. You had said something last week or the week before, a couple episodes ago, about how you don't like the way that they show rain in the show. And I was like, it doesn't bother me. But then this happened and it was pouring rain, but the ticket on her windshield was completely dry. And I was like, no, you lost me. You lost me. I see it now. It pissed me off.
It really bothers me. That's my biggest complaint about how things are like shot. So we have this note, and it turns out Creepy Jake is in her back seat. And I just want to say the setup for this was done like it normally is. It's what you would expect. It's like going forward, you would expect like when someone's sitting in their car at night, that's when they're going to get caught by the creepy guy. Had no idea it was coming.
Yeah, no.
It was like so many things happening.
I was so busy being pissed off about the ticket that I did not even see it coming.
Exactly. Like I was like, so much else has happened that leads you up to this point that I had no idea. It completely caught me off guard. And like, if you look back, that's exactly when it should have happened.
Yes.
And I didn't even notice it was coming.
But also, again, reasons why I keep my car full of shit looking like a homeless person. No one is ever going to hide in my backseat.
Fair. When I drove, I would always like turn my lights on and check my backseat when I got in the car. Like I would never just sit there.
There's a cooler and 4-foot balloons on my backseat. No one's hiding in it.
And that's best. So he's like got a gun to her head, telling her that he's gone everywhere and he can't find it. And it turns out he's looking for money. $150,000 to be exact.
And I said, excuse me, sir, I can guarantee you this woman does not know where your money is, because if she had $150,000, she'd be gone already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he doesn't accept that. And she's like, there's a gun to my head. I have to lie. So she tells him she'll meet him the next night with his $150,000. And we'll see what happens in the finale.
Well, but here's the thing. The last thing he says before he says he's meeting her is that if she doesn't have the money, he's going to come to her house and he's going to kill both of her sons in front of her and then kill her. And I realized it was so subtle, so well done, such good acting from Vera.
Oh.
The only time her face broke at all was when he said he'd kill Norman. That's it. And it was so subtle.
Yep. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It was this show, man. They just like it's really well done.
Yeah.
And that's the end of our episode.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have no trivia for you.
It happens.
It's a real bummer. Who do you want to punch in the face?
Miss Watson. Because as a very compassionate, lovey, touchy English teacher, women like her are why we are always the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody ever sleeps with their math teacher. It's always their English teacher. And like,
Yeah.
no, I refuse to be a part of that trope.
Right. I also picked her. I don't even care to think of another one because I really want to punch her in the face.
Yeah.
Who's your MVP?
Gunner. Because I just love him. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna turn out to be awful because everyone on the show turns out to be awful, but like, it's so nice to have such a pure character for once.
I know. On the same note, my MVP is Emma. They just
sweet
were
baby
adorable together. Her being super high was hilarious. I just love her.
Yes.
So, yeah, you have some predictions for what's going to happen in the season finale?
No. Like, I don't. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed by how many things are open right now that, like, I don't even know how they're going to end it. Somebody else is going to die. Like, somebody else has to die.
Yeah.
But who and why? Like, there's so many possibilities, and I'm stressed out.
I'm going to backtrack. I think Bradley's going to die next episode. I think it's her time. I don't know who else would die. It's not going to be Gail. It's not going to be Dylan, Norman, Norma, any of them.
Yeah.
Could be Remo, but he just doesn't, it doesn't feel like his time.
No.
He'll probably die before it's all over, but I don't think it's his time.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think I can't decide if Creepy Jake, if this is his timeline and he's going to die next episode, or if we're going to go into season 2.
I don't think so. We don't know enough about him.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I feel like he's got so much story left to tell, but I don't think he's going to die yet either. So I think it's going to be Bradley. And I think that maybe that's all.
Yeah.
But this leads me to a question. Based on the poster for the show, where Norma is like super pale, like deathly pale, and Norman is clearly alive. When do you think Norma's gonna die?
I think it'll be a while. I think it'll be like maybe season 4 or 5. I don't think it'll be soon.
That's what I was like. I think she's gonna die before the end.
I think it would make sense for her to die before the end, but I don't think it'll be anytime soon.
I don't think it'll be before season 4. Like, I would say the earliest is beginning of season 4.
Agreed.
I'm also leaning more towards it. Like, season 4 finale is when Norma dies.
Maybe.
That was just kind of a question I thought about when we were chatting about that. Because, I mean, you know how it's going to go.
Yeah. That is really a terrifying poster.
Right? Right.
Well, because that's also like a much later poster. The first,
yeah, it's like season 5.
The first season 1 is just him sitting on a bed in the motel room and her like holding on to him.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep.
But
yeah. So, any other last minute thoughts?
No, I don't think I have. I do.
Just a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right, so we're going to gear up for our season finale, which is going to be next Thursday. And we will also be announcing what our movie will be for our season break next Thursday. And get ready for our next Sci-Fi Sunday, because that's coming in a few days. Mother's Day. Nope, this is after Mother's Day.
Yeah, this is after Mother's Day.
It's coming out on the 15th, after this one.
Yeah, today is the 12th. The next one will be the 15th.
Yes, so buckle up, buttercups. We're going to make it through. Yeah. And if you want to talk to us, you can email us, deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can follow us on all the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we'll see you on Sunday.
Bye.